My glasses keep steaming up, so I had to take them off. But if I leave them off, I can't see my notes. So let's pray that this all works out. I don't feel like being inside, even though it's like 80% humidity and 95 degrees out. I've had the flu for 4 days, and I need the heat and I need the sweat. Thank you for bearing with me. It's been a while since I've shared a reading with you on here. If you've been onto my other videos where I do have a reading, I actually will read from it. So forgive me for not looking at the camera. I like to get it right. Okay, so before Peter and I began our first in-person session in over 2 years, because I was in California and I was getting them over the phone, he and I caught up a little, and I told Peter about my morning. So just that morning of this reading, I'd been back to my townhome for the first time since leaving gym to retrieve some papers. And I will go back in a few days to get the rest. And unfortunately, that visit will result in major consequences, both negative and positive. And I remarked to Peter how strange it was to be there. Unlike other times when we were still married and I would just simply be traveling without Jim, I would always be back within 10 days. Nothing of my presence remained this time. I had been completely eradicated, energetically, physically, visually, artistically, everything. The whole vibe was of a dead, like I said, dead, forgotten, too quiet place. I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt extremely out of place. Peter commiserated with me, and he said so because that's exactly what Jim's energy had felt like to him. So before I ever got to Peter's office, he had already been tuning in and channeling in his morning prayers. Okay, so my mom stepped forward first, exclaiming how proud of me she was and that she loves my wig-free fuzzy noggin. This has taken me 4 years to grow from a buzz cut to this. And I've had only like 3 haircuts in 4 years. It's taken me a while. My dad joined her and told her my support team was all there and mom would do most of the talking. My mom said that she recognized how conflicted I'd been over my living situation and that I'm being pulled in different directions. On one hand, my girls are trying to decide where I should live, who I should live with. On the other, I feel pulled back to Northern California where I am happiest. And I will say right now it's 2026 and the pull to Northern California is strong. It has never lessened. In 2025, I visited there, spent 2 weeks there, and it just really filled me up. And here it's now been 1 whole year this week, and I still feel that pull. It just, no matter what I do, how far away I go, for how long, Northern California just tugs at me, at my soul. I miss it. I hope I can go back one day. My higher self told me that I belong in Northern California. She explained that if I remain in Utah, there will be conflict and the energetic cord with Jim will stay attached. When what I really need is a new beginning. She continued, wanting me to reconsider living in California, but also bringing Rachel with me, that we should be roommates. Rachel's higher self interjected, saying that Rachel has thought about leaving Utah, that it might be a good thing, and she feels in limbo too. She suggested I plant this seed with Rachel and let her ruminate on it. My higher self recognized that my former home literally calls to me and I miss it terribly. She said that once I am financially secure, I should rent a place there in Northern California, something small, quaint, and cozy, with a small yard, but not to move there alone if it can be helped. I do love to grow things, I love to garden, and I do need some kind of a yard wherever I live. Peter said that my higher self is repeating over and over that Northern California is where I belong. My mom pulled us back into the present, saying she wants to get into the nitty-gritty of why we are there, the divorce. So I'll share with you that the words nitty-gritty are definitely something my mom said. She said that a lot. So it's funny because Peter he got to know my parents through channeling them for so many years. I think at this point it's almost 8 years. And so he can convey quite well their mannerisms and their colloquialisms and all these other ways to communicate. My mom said that the proceedings should conclude in October-ish, but that Jim is so unpredictable this could change. Peter remarked on Jim's energy by saying it feels better than the last time. It's calmer, not retaliatory. He also said that he's seeing a pattern in Jim's energy shifts, but he doesn't explain that remark. much sooner than usual because I had a reading just a month earlier. It's time for questions, and as usual, I have plenty. So in this reading, I ask a lot of questions. It's mostly question and answer. I asked first if my prospective new attorney, Tyler from Tennessee, will do a good job. I'll tell you what about Tyler from Tennessee. Worked for a very posh, expensive law firm in either Midvale or Draper. I can't remember. I think Midvale. He was gorgeous, 6'3", skinny, like an auburn ginger, longish wavy hair. He had like a Colonel Sanders, whatever you call it, the goatee with the mustache, and he was stunning. He was probably in his early 30s and not usually my type, but he really was pretty. Snooty though. The news isn't great here. My higher self delivered the goods, saying he is young, inexperienced, and really judgmental of me, and he doesn't believe me or my story because he's just a very judgy guy. Peter laughed and said that she is alluding to the a-hole word for him. I'm thrilled that my higher self uses profanity. It comes from my soul, people. My higher self said, although I won't be happy with his work, it's not a terrible idea to use him. I needed somebody on my side. I needed like an advocate, and he had a very good education. He was very, very bright. Following my higher self's lukewarm endorsement of Tyler from Tennessee, the posh lawyer, I asked another question. Should I get a different attorney? She said, no, if you stay with Tyler for validation, she explained that he will reach a turning point in working with me when his attitude towards me will shift, brought on by Jim harassing him. Tyler will recognize that I've been truthful and authentic and that Jim is neither. She added that it'll all end up fine and that despite hesitation, Tyler's worth the money. So I hired Tyler twice, each time for an hour. That is all I could afford. Jim had 3 attorneys working for him. All right, the next question I asked was about selling my townhome because of all the difficulties Jim had been creating. My higher self recognized that Jim has deliberately been stubborn about selling it to make things harder for me. He's spiteful and vindictive even, and that he doesn't want to share the profit from it. So it wasn't in that moment, like Peter had said, oh, his energy's calmer, more not vindictive, not retaliatory. That's true. But when it comes to dealing with Jim over the house, he and I, in the 2 months I'd been gone, he hadn't been. So my higher self is just recognizing the crap I had gone through trying to sell the townhome with Jim, and which further just supports why I felt like in my soul I needed to go back. I needed to go back to the front lines of the battle. So he was vindictive even in that Jim doesn't want to share the profit from it. Oh boy, did he ever have to. Yes, he did. She encouraged me to continue to room with Rachel for the time being to save money, and again mentioned living with her in Northern California, that the Lake Tahoe area is so our vibe. Yeah, it is. She vetoed the idea of living in Nevada again, and my dad agreed because I used to live not far over the California state line in Somerset and Western Reno. And my dad agreed, and he said it's a bad idea for what he termed political reasons. Dad also declared the next 3 years. Now, pay attention, this is interesting. So this is September 2022, I'm getting this reading. And my dad wants to go off a little bit on politics. So my dad declared that the next 3 years, which he meant 2023, 2024, and 2025. He named this as a period during which things will get hectic on a worldwide scale. Well, we know what happened in the election of 2024, and starting in January, the immediate dismantling of critical government departments began in January 2025. So my dad mentioned a big financial crisis to hit in 2025, and that Democratic states will try to exert a lot of control over the economy. He recommended that I live in a red state for greater stability, but conceded California should be okay because it has a lot of Republican leaders and better suits my lifestyle. California does suit my lifestyle, and Oregon and Washington too. But I can't believe my dad is still a Republican, even in spirit form. Oh. So my dad shares that he hangs out with his younger brother, Richard, who was a twin and who drowned in their local public pool at the age of 13 beneath the feet of bullies. A terrible family tragedy for which my dad blamed himself all his life, as did his dad. He shared that they like to go target shooting together now. This is something my dad did with me and my 4 older brothers, and it's the reason I'm one hell of a shot. All right, this concludes part 33B. I hope you'll be back for 33C for the rest of this reading with psychic medium Peter from September 2022. I'm Sarah Wilder. This is the 9 Lives of Sarah Wilder, Surviving the Man I Married.